Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a things I have learned about makeup video and today is featuring concealer. So a lot of people have heard about concealer, but well, actually no, not everyone's heard of it, but some people have, and some people has kind of wondered what its use is, what its purpose is. So I'm just here to basically talk about concealer, what you can use it for, what it can do, its benefits. It's basically, yeah, what it does, pretty much. Some of you will know that a concealer is used under the eyes. It's called a concealer for a reason, so it's to conceal something, usually. But some people don't realise there are other uses. Concealer can also be used to brighten. It can be used to set your eyeshadow. It can be used in darker shades. It can be used to contour. There are a lot of uses for concealer, which is great. I'm going to talk about the first thing that I ever used it for. So before there was eyeshadow primers, it was just commonplace to use concealer and a bit of setting powder as your eyeshadow primer. It was, that's just what you did. And most of the time you kind of matched your concealer to your foundation, which is not necessary now. You can go a couple of shades lighter. It does not matter. Not darker, however. Lighter or the same colour, definitely not darker. So as an example, I'll show you what I mean. So I'm just going to use my E.L.F. Hydrating Camo Concealer. This is my favourite at the moment. I will have most things I use listed down below. So when I use this as a eyeshadow primer, all I do is, now you don't need much of this. It goes a long way. Pretty much put some on, then take a sponge. We could use a brush, fingers even. There's, you know, you don't have to be, I have to use this or I have to use that. It's honestly just whatever you've got handy. Blend it out. Then I'm going to take some setting powder. This is just my Mercier setting powder. This is my all-time fave. I cannot get enough of this stuff. I'm using her powder puff as well. So I'm just taking some on the powder puff and then I'm going to set it. So just a bit on each side. And done. And now my eyes are ready for eyeshadow. It's as simple as that. So that was the first use that I always used concealer for, until I did some research and found you could use it under your eyes. This is many years ago, and that research entailed going to a department store and talking to a person about makeup, pretty much. And this particular lady suggested, oh, have you ever used concealer under your eyes? And I mean, not under my eyes, I've used it as a base for my eyeshadow. She's like, wow, actually. And it all stemmed from that. So, a few things you do need to know though. First of all, you need to know your texture under your eyes. So, are you oily under your eyes? Are you dry under your eyes? Are you a combination of both? So figuring that out is the first thing. The next thing is a really good eye cream. Now I cannot stress that enough. A really good eye cream will just make your concealer sit perfectly. So in my case, I have textured quite dry under eyes, so I need quite a hydrating eye cream. So I'm going to recommend this one. If you're the same as me, then yeah, this one is your best bet. So this is from Kiehl's and this is their creamy eye treatment. I just have a little size. And you do not need much of this, like you need like a little bit on, I always put just a little bit on my finger tips, on my pinkies, and then just spread it around. And it is perfect if you have, like me, dry textured under eyes, okay? However, if you are oily under your eyes or combination, you want to look for something a bit different for under your eyes. So more of a, like, you know how we have the day cream and the night cream texture. Your night cream's always the texture, you know, it's always got more substance, more moisturization. It's kind of like that. You kind of want the day version of an eye cream that's not so moisturizing, that's more going to keep it settled and balanced. Okay, so look into it a bit more, do your research, find something that's really suited for you. I cannot stress an eye cream enough. It really, really does help. Next thing, how do I pick a concealer? It's not as easy as everyone thinks. It's kind of a bit of a hit and miss, or a bit of trial and error. In my case, that's what it's always been. Or I found this one lady who's a close match with everything I am. She must have the same sort of skin colour, skin texture, pretty much everything as me. So sometimes I keep an eye out on her. So you might be the same, you might find someone else. What do they call them? There's a name for them. Like your makeup twin, you know, and you know if it suits them, it's going to suit you. I have that person, but she's not just makeup based. She does a whole lot of different things, so I'm kind of only getting it now and then. But most of the time you can just go into a department store and get them to match you. That's probably the easiest bet. Going online, the dramas I've had with going online, because things look different, shades look different online than they do in person. So that's the biggest thing. And the shade, I've always guessed wrong. I've always thought, oh yeah, that looks right, or that's, you know, I'm neutral skin toned, so there's warm, cool and neutral. I'm neutral. So I always look for the N, you know, because, well, neutral, you know, that work, right? Not always the case. I have since found. Skin tone doesn't really matter so much because you're going 2 shades lighter. That's the other thing, 2 shades lighter than your foundation. So not severely light, you know, not one way or the other. You want to go just 2 shades, or as I always say, slightly lighter than your foundation. Okay, and that's more just to do what it says: conceal, brighten, you know, look good. So that's pretty much all I can say. So to test it, put some foundation or wear foundation, but no concealer, and get somebody to do it for you, or take a concealer shade that you've already got that's perfect with you, and compare it. You know, put some on your hand and use the testers. We're back to using testers now, which is great. And, you know, put it alongside one, you know, that you've already matched and is perfect and you want to try. That's another way around it. I've done that a few times. So there's a few ways you can kind of find your shade. But it is not easy. I know that, trust me. So there's a few that I have. My all-time favourite at the moment is the E.L.F. one. Now this is available at Kmart. I will have, I think, like I said, everything linked down below. But my all-time favourite used to be the Tarte Shape Tape concealer, this little one. This is just a mini. I still like the formula, but for some reason the shade I usually am seems a lot whiter and a lot brighter on me, at least in this travel size. It was quite bad, so I was like, oh, no. So either my skin tone has changed, or they've brightened or lightened that particular shade. So I'm going to have to try and match to a darker shade, which, yeah, I'm not looking forward to figuring that out. I've tried a few other ones. I do have a shade match for the Maybelline eraser. I can't remember the full title. One with the sponge tip, which is kind of unusual. Is it eraser? I can't remember. Anyway, I do have a shade picked in that one that suits me well. I have Revlon one that suits me, but it's kind of a bit, yeah, I don't like it as much as the others. Same with Sephora. I have a good shade in that one, but again, it's the texture's not right. So I thought I'd try, Mecca Max has their own version of a concealer. What do they call it? Life Proof Cream Concealer. And again, I thought I had the shade match perfectly. Excuse me. And it's far too light. Hang on. It's very, very, very pale. I cannot use it. So let's, as a little example, put some of these on my hand to show you what I mean. So that one doesn't actually, it just is called 120. Gosh, when you see these on your hand, like, this is amazing. How different they are. Oh my gosh, there's not much in my Tarte Shape Tape one. I've been using it as an eyeshadow primer, that's why. Okay, let's put the last one on. Okay, now another thing I've noticed about my favourite at the moment, the E.L.F. Hydrating Camo Concealer, is I put it on and it looks quite orange. I'll do it in a second and you'll see what I mean. And it looks quite orange, but then as you blend it out, it's almost like it changes colour. Okay, so on the bottom we have the Mecca Max, far too light. Okay, in the middle is the Tarte Shape Tape, which is, what is this shade? Light Sand? Light Sand. Which is getting on the light side as well. And then the last one, of course, is the E.L.F. Camo Concealer, and I think that's classed as Light Sand. Where are we? Yeah. Isn't that weird? They're both called the same name. Look at the difference in colour. So if I blend out the E.L.F. Camo Concealer a bit on my hand, you can sort of see it change colour. There you go. You wouldn't even know it was there. See what I mean? So yeah, so picking your shade can be the worst, but well worth it once you get it picked, honestly. Another thing is, as I've gotten older, I kept thinking, should I be using concealer? Because when you use concealer, you do have to powder your eye to set it. Now, of course, powder makes you, what's the word I'm looking for? Gives you wrinkles, or, you know, accentuates wrinkles and grooves and everything, so it makes it look like you're tired. I was like, should I really be using it? But it is really an advantage, because for me, I use an under eye corrector first and then the concealer. So let's quickly, well, not quickly, let's just do this. So all I do here, I can't do this with that mirror, let me just do it with this way. So I put a wee bit in the corner, we do it there, and then I put a wee bit down here, and then a wee bit in here. And that's all I do. You don't need much. And then I just blend it out. Now, again, you can blend it out with a sponge, you can use a brush, you can use your fingers. It does not really matter. It just, yeah, whatever you can get to work. So I'm just using, this is just a Kmart sponge I've been testing out. Hasn't been too bad so far. And there you have it. And see how it's brightened. You know, this is without powder, of course. That will change. But yeah, it's as easy as that. And then you can set it with powder or not. If you're oily skinned, not anything like that, you might not want to set it. But it may crease. Crease is basically just when the product goes into your fine lines and settles. That's all creasing is. And some people quite often just wipe it off. But if you powder, it should not do that. Fingers crossed. Picking a powder to use as setting powder is another thing. So you don't want to use anything tinted or like a light shade. You know, they sometimes come in light, medium, you know, that kind of thing. You want to go for something translucent, okay, so that you're just going to be able to set your under eye. All I do is I use my all-time fave, my McGrath Labs under eye powder. Take a wee brush and I put the smallest amount down, tap off the excess, and then just set it. It's as easy as that. and you're ready to go. Same thing with the powder. You wouldn't want to use the same powder on the rest of your face. Look for something that's just for under the eye. Well, I mean, you can use other powders like the Laura Mercier is okay under the eyes. It is translucent, but I just don't like the finish it gives, put it that way, under the eyes. So it might be a bit of experimentation to see which one is right for you, but I always look for something that's specific for under the eye, because at least then I know it's for under the eye, so it should work. Fingers crossed. And that is pretty much it when it comes to concealer. A thing to watch out for would be if it's starting to look grey or anything like that under your eyes, then you most likely need a colour corrector underneath. You might have some dark circles, something you need to cover before you apply concealer. Concealer can also be used on blemishes, but bear in mind you do want to stick to the shade of your foundation, okay? So 2 shades lighter or lighter for your under eye and your eyeshadow primer, if you want to do it that way, and the same colour as your foundation to spot control. Yeah. That's about all I can think of for now. I think I've covered all my bases. But if you have any questions, please do leave them in the comments. I'm happy to help, and I hope you've learnt something really valuable today. I sure know that if I had seen something like this when I was first learning about it, I would have been so grateful. So anyway, that is it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing you in my next one. Bye!